Welcome to Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged, a podcast for all women with a creative business who want to learn more about how to make money doing something they love. I'm Joanne Pearce, a female entrepreneur myself, 15 years experience running my own handmade stationery business, Vintage Twee. I'm an established seller on two of the biggest handmade marketplaces, so I've got a whole load of advice to share about how to start and run your own successful creative business. I'm also a wife and a mother, so I get the struggles of trying to do it all while you're raising a family. It's hard. Alongside running Vintage Twee, I'm also a mentor for other women like me who desperately want to work for themselves but just need that bit of support to get going and get their business dream off the ground. I'm a friendly northerner, I'm open and honest with a huge heart and a real fighting spirit, and I'm living proof that you can achieve anything that you set your mind to, even in the face of adversity. This podcast celebrates the selflessness, strength and resilience of women in business. So if you're ready to ditch the 9 to 5 and learn how to start your own successful creative business, you're in the right place. Hello and welcome to the Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged podcast. Okay, hands up. When you hear the words tax or accounting, do you instantly switch off? I know I do. Because it's not exactly the sexiest subject in the world, is it? But here's the thing. If you've got a business, especially a small or creative one, this stuff really matters. And it doesn't have to feel scary or boring or overwhelming. I actually met today's guest, Alison, at one of my Match Made in Business speed networking events. And if I'm honest, had it been an actual speed dating event, I'm pretty sure that I would have ticked the compatibility box, right? She instantly lit up the room. Now, I had the guest list because I was running the event, but I would never have guessed that she was the accountant in the room because she came across more like a party host or like the friendliest PR person that you've ever met. Warm, approachable, and just really easy to talk to. And that's exactly what stood out to me. She is the complete opposite of the stiff, intimidating stereotype which we all imagine when we think of accountants. And that's why she's my new accountant. So today she's here to break things down for us. We are going to chat about the myths, the mistakes, and yes, I'm even going to throw some quick-fire questions at her in a game that I have completely devised myself called Can I Claim For? So whether you're brand new to business or you're just tired of shoving receipts in a drawer and hoping for the best, then this episode is going to make you feel clearer, calmer, and maybe even just a little bit entertained along the way. I hope you enjoy it. Welcome, Alison, to the Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged podcast. Hello. Thank you so much for being here today. So we met at one of our speed networking events, didn't we?
Yeah.
And that was my other hat that I wear, the Match Made in Business. And
Yeah.
I just knew, like, when I met you, like, for a start, you're the coolest accountant that I've ever met.
Oh, thanks.
And I just thought you were so lovely and approachable, and I thought, yes, this lady is going to be good for the podcast because, you know, you make me feel like no question is so too stupid because we have a lot of questions.
Good. Yeah, because a lot of times accountants are seen as being a bit stuffy or a bit like there's so much jargon and stuff, and that's the hardest bit, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think we said, didn't we, when we met up a few weeks ago, we said when you think of accountants, you think of like grey, pasty, middle-aged men. You're lively, informed, and I love this. So Alison is brand new in terms of starting her own business. She's only been doing this for 6 months. However, she has a long history of working in the accountancy sector.
Yes, yeah.
And yeah, so she's come on today to help us with some of our money worries, because I know when you work for yourself, it's one of those things that a lot of people are afraid of. I know that my husband, for example, Dave, he always says to me, God, I could never start a business. I just wouldn't sleep at night worrying about the tax. And, you know, and I think most of us, we just learn it as we go along. We don't actually know what
Absolutely.
we're doing.
There's no rule book, is there? That's the thing.
No, but it's great to have you here today so we can ask some of the questions that are on our mind that you might not want to ask because you feel a bit embarrassed. So first of all, tell us a little bit about you, your background and why you started on your own.
Okay, so I qualified far too many years ago for me to want to remember how many it is. When I qualified, I actually just then had my son. I did a degree first, then I went and did all my ACCA qualifications, which follow on from your degree. And then I just went into practice and stayed there basically for over 20 years. The last place that I was there for 17 years and was practice manager there, was running the place along with the director. And I just got to a point where I thought, do you know what? I've been doing this for so long for somebody else. I've done the really, really hard bit of where you are trying to be a mum, be a wife, be a housemaker, but also have a career and all that juggling. And it's daunting. And I think I just got to a stage where my children now don't particularly need me to be as around as I was. And I just thought it's time now. I felt ready. I've got bags of experience under my belt. So why not use that in a way that I want to use it? So I want to be available to people. I want to be someone who helps them bust all the jargon and try and make it not so scary, because it doesn't have to be scary. I want to help people have the confidence to go and do their own thing and not have to worry about whether they understand all of the other little bits.
I love that. And I think you're right, because I think with a lot of ladies that listen to this podcast particularly, they're all creatives and we're good at making stuff and we're good at our imagination and coming up with ideas. But when it comes down to the math side of things and having that maths brain, I know for one, I can't add up for toffee. It's ridiculous, but I know I'm not going to feel the same.
You don't need to be good at maths, but I think there's just this mental thing of, if you hated maths at school, already you've got this number block.
Yeah.
But not only that, our tax system is quite complex, so that already puts people off.
Yeah.
They use words that don't necessarily make sense to people, which is another thing and then they fling in threats of penalties if you don't meet the right deadlines and all that, which is scary. And you just never taught all this stuff at school. It's one thing that our system just does not cover.
It really should, because now entrepreneurship is such a viable option for people.
Absolutely.
They might not want to go into university or,
That's
they want
it.
business.
Yeah. And it allows you the flexibility of doing what you want to do and what you're good at and helping other people with what you can do. So it's something really they should be teaching, but they don't. So people just get scared of it before they've even started.
Yeah, and I love what you said about you're there to give people the confidence to say, you can do this. Like, there's certain things when you run a business, I think that you do have to delegate. And accounts is one of those things that if you pass it on to someone who knows what they're doing, it takes so much stress off you.
It really does. And the thing is, if you have this mental block about not wanting to do it, you're not going to do it. And then you're not going to know where your business is at and if you're actually being successful, where you're wasting money, where you could be saving money. You're not going to know because your accounts aren't there.
Definitely. And you see so many posts on Instagram. I know I do, small business owners, and it's particularly like towards the end of the tax year or when they've got to submit their return. And they're always there with pictures of files next to them going, oh God, I hate this time of year. I'm bogged down with it. And it's like, well, do you know what? Pass it on to someone else that knows what they're doing.
Or don't leave it till the end of the tax year.
Or stop doing that as a bad habit. Yes.
It doesn't have to be done at tax time. It can be done. In fact, you've got to do it throughout the year. Otherwise, you don't know where you're at. You can't plan for anything. You can't even mitigate any risks. If you're a year behind with your bookkeeping, it's too late.
It's so important. I always say this to the ladies that I work with. I'm like, tracking your income and your expenses and keeping on top of it is crucial. And I know I've been guilty of it in the past. When I first started my business, I'd let things build up and then I'd be panicking, going, I don't know where I'm up to. Yeah. And now, particularly since starting Her Handmade Hustle, every single transaction or expense, I do it there and then on my spreadsheet. So am I getting a gold star for this, by the way?
Absolutely, definitely.
In school, but I've learned the hard way because I didn't do it, and now I feel like I am on top of it. Yeah, you've been on your own then for 6 months now.
Yes,
and you're not too far away from me, are you? You're based out 20 minutes away in Chapel.
Yeah.
But you do work with people all over.
Absolutely. Although I love doing the whole face-to-face thing, it can be done remotely. So I do have clients in Scotland, or I've actually got a couple in Spain. So it can be just anywhere. It's not limited to where you live at all.
Exactly. So if you're sat there thinking, I need an accountant, I can't do this on my own, then obviously you are a brilliant person to go to. You don't have to be around the corner. But
Yeah.
this is something that I wanted to touch on. So a lot of people might be thinking, do I need an accountant? Maybe they've been in business under a year or they're just starting out.
Yeah.
What do you recommend at this point for people who are just starting out?
I think it depends on your business structure, and it depends on how confident you are with your bookkeeping or your record keeping. One of the myths really is that small businesses don't need an accountant. They think it's wasted money, or they think it's going to increase their expenses too much, or whatever. What I would say is that actually having an accountant can save you money because it helps you channel your resources where they're better used. It can help your productivity. And so actually in the long run, it's probably a really good idea. Unless you are someone who really understands all that stuff and keeps on top of your books and does have that sort of mindset of, yeah, I want to know what my profit is all the time.
Yeah.
They're more likely to keep their books up to date.
Yes.
But if you're not like that, or you're not sure what you can claim, or you're not sure about your deadlines and all that sort of stuff, it will reduce your stress by far. It might increase your costs in the short term, but actually a good accountant will pay for themselves in what they save you. So my advice, obviously, would be yes, have an accountant.
Definitely. What is the amount that you have to be earning now to declare to HMRC when you're self-employed? Is it still £1,000?
So £1,000, yeah. If you go over £1,000, then yeah, you have to register for self-assessment and you have to put in a tax return.
So is that £1,000 turnover?
Yes.
Make it clear for people, yeah.
Yes.
So that's despite what you're paying out for expenses. If you have brought in £1,000
Yes.
through sales, then you
Yeah.
need to register to be
Yes.
self-employed.
Yeah.
And people listen to this, they run market stalls, they do craft fairs and things like that. All
Yeah.
that income counts. So if
It does.
it does. So if they are doing, say, a fair once a month on a Saturday or whatever, they need to be writing down what they're earning,
Yes.
regardless of whether or not they think it's just a hobby.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And this £1,000 limit is to negate hobby income that you might just sell a few photos online or something like that, or sell some of your clothes on Vinted.
Yeah.
That's what that £1,000 is for. So if you go over £1,000, they say, right, that's enough now.
Yeah.
You've got to keep your records.
So, for example, I put stuff on Facebook Marketplace, you're selling furniture, the odd 30 quid here and there.
Yeah.
That's allowable, but it's just if you're making that consistent income and it's over
Yes.
£1,000.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. So why do you think that people, especially women, feel so anxious about money and tax? I know for me, I feel like it's a male-dominated industry, and I found it quite hard to find an accountant that I can relate to.
Yeah, I think women and finances are becoming more and more aware of it. Traditionally, it's always been the male role within a lot of sectors to deal with the money side of things. And that's just so outdated now. But again, I think it's because it's scary. It's very personal. I think couples don't always talk about money because it creates arguments, or it's such a personal thing to talk about. People just have this thing of, we don't discuss our salary, we don't discuss our outgoings. It's just historically generic that that's how people are when it comes to money, and they don't talk about it. I think women especially are now becoming more open to discussing, because they're no longer necessarily traditionally stay-at-home mums, or they're running the households, they're holding down a job, they're doing all the school runs, they're doing everything. Actually, they're becoming more empowered to deal with it and take control of their own finances, which is brilliant. But yeah, traditionally it has been a male-dominated area without a doubt.
Yeah, and I know that, in our household, Dave hasn't got a bloody clue what goes in and out of the joint account, honestly. And
Yeah.
It takes me to sit down. In fact, we had this conversation last night, and I was like, this is what's going out, and this is what's coming in. We need to sort this out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If you don't keep on top of it, then that's how you end up in trouble and
Yeah.
sinking, don't you? So you better, as much as it hurts sometimes looking at your bank account and you're thinking,
I know.
it's in the red.
It's horrible, especially when it's got a big minus number in front of it. It's not good.
No, not at all. And, and it's okay to be like that, because it's hard living at the moment. Things are expensive. And we've all gone into our overdraft in the last year.
And I think that's another thing, that at the moment, because things have gone up so much just in your home environment, to start thinking about that in a business sense is overwhelming. It's just how do I juggle the home side of things and think about how my business is doing with the increased costs of everything, especially, if you're running an office and your electricity costs have gone through the roof. It's scary, it is, but you have to face it head on. You can't just ignore it.
Exactly. It's like, you can't hide away from stuff and bury your head in the sand, because that's
Yeah.
how businesses fail. And at least you can see what's happening, you can identify it and go, right, I need to do something about this.
When you start your own business from scratch and you are on your own, it's overwhelming because you feel like you have to do everything yourself. Having a good bookkeeping system from day one is massive. But the other thing is also reaching out to other people like we have done, where you can discuss things, where it doesn't have to be you, yourself, and only you. Discuss ideas with other people. I mean, that networking event of yours was brilliant. I'll be doing your next one, by the way, in Gloucester.
Yes.
But just having coffee with a like-minded person who you can just say, look, when I started mine, this is how it was. It's scary. It's really hard. You get to the 6-month point and you think, oh, I need to go and get a job.
Yeah.
This is just not picking up as quickly as I thought it would. Thinking you're not alone is massive. And so, yes, it's your own business and you're the only person in it, but it doesn't mean you have to do everything. You've got to build your own network. You don't have endless resources yourself, and that's okay. You have to recognize where your weaknesses are and where your strengths are. And, one of the main things is to reach out to people. I wouldn't know how to make what you make. And, I fully expect you not to understand how to do all your bookkeeping. That's the way it goes. So we help each other. So, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
I know, I think that's brilliant. And so imagine someone's just starting out, they're thinking about how to move forward with an idea that they've got. And they start selling some stuff and they're thinking, shit, I've not got any way to record this. What is the best way for them to start recording their income expenses?
There are so many things out there now, and it really does depend on how confident the person is with technology. The first thing I would say is always have a separate bank account for your business stuff. Because if you are trying to fish through all your personal expenditure as well, you're making the job 10 times harder. It doesn't need to be. So have a separate bank account. I mean, obviously, spreadsheets are brilliant. If you're not au fait with spreadsheets, or you feel like you could probably do something a little bit more software based, there's loads of free ones out there. There's one called ClearBooks, there's one called QuickFile, and then you can get onto your bigger packages like Xero and QuickBooks and Free Agent, and your accountant should be able to help you with inputting stuff, learning how to do it, or there are endless courses online with how to do it. The other thing is that there's a few of my clients who have designed spreadsheets for them, and I sit and say, right, this is what you do on a weekly basis or a daily basis, depending on how their business works. Fill this page in, and it'll all drop out the end. So, yeah.
So I've got a spreadsheet with a page for the income, a page for the expenses, and then I've got one at the end, which is a monthly tally of what's going in, what's coming out.
Yeah.
And
Keeping a track of your profit.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. And also, you don't need a business bank account, do you, if you're self-employed? People worry about the fact that, I've got to set up a business bank account, but you don't need a specific business one.
Unless you're a limited company, you don't need to have a business bank account. You can just have a normal current account. That's fine.
But keep it separately
I would just keep it separate for your own ease, really, because if you're reconciling your bank and your bank is up to date and matching and it balances, that's literally half your job done.
Yeah.
What you don't need to do is start putting in every £2 coffee that you get from Starbucks or every weekly shop that you get from Aldi. It's just time wasting. So if you have a separate bank account, it'll literally make it so much easier straight off.
Right. Well, I've got a question on that now. I might get in trouble for this. Now, obviously you pay yourself, right? So
yes.
The money that you're earning goes into your bank account, whether it's a business one or not. When you want some of that money to buy a coffee in Starbucks, or you want to get yourself a new top from Primark or whatever, how do we access that money without it confusing things? So at the minute, admittedly, I'm going to get in trouble. I just put my card right because I've had no money in my other account. So I've been taking it out of there because I think, well, I've earned that. That's my wages. So what should I be doing?
Do you know what? That's a dead easy thing to do. I've done it a few times as well, so don't worry. The best thing to do is transfer yourself around some into your other account right, I need £100, send it over.
Okay. And then did you categorise that £100 as a wage then? So when it comes to categorising the transaction?
Yeah, or drawings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's better than just going, oh, there's £17 spent in Primark, there's £10 spent in B&M. You can see where I shop, can't you?
Well, you've got one transaction that you know has gone to you.
Yeah.
So whereas if I was to have a look at your books and you've listed out 6 different transactions all totaling £100, and then I have to say to you, right, what did you get in Aldi? What did you get in B&M? Did you buy any of this stationery? You then have to split it all out, whereas if you are buying stationery for the business, use the business account, because whether it's from B&M or wherever, it doesn't matter. But as long as that's in your business account and you've used it for your business, that was for the business. Otherwise, you've got to go trawling back through all receipts that you probably didn't keep.
Yeah.
And you're probably going to miss out on things, especially if you start throwing stuff in your basket when you're doing your weekly shop and getting business stuff. If that receipt's gone, you've missed that expense.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you want to make sure that everything for your business goes to your business account so you don't miss it.
Yeah, because I'll go into B&M or whatever, and I'll get some files, or I'll get I don't know, some pens or whatever, and I think, right, okay, that's going on the work account. But then something else catches my eye, and I think, oh, I like that for my fairy garden.
Absolutely.
That's nice with slip-on shoes for Eden, and then I'd end up putting them on the card. So this is what I need to stop, right? So I'm sick of actually worrying about this, and I know a lot of people worry about this too. So transfer yourself a bulk amount of whatever you think you might need for that week.
Yeah.
Because that's your money, isn't it? You've earned it.
And if you buy stuff for the business in B&M, then we'll put it through that you've paid for it if you buy it on the same thing, but we make sure we claim it. Make sure you keep that receipt and mark off anything on there that was for business so that we make sure we get it in.
Yes, brilliant. Oh, thanks for clearing that up. That's great. Now, while we're on the subject of claiming, I thought it would be quite funny. So just do a bit of a quick fire round of can I claim for that? Because I know so many people worry about what they can claim for and what they can't. And so you get used to it the longer you've been in business, of course, but for people just starting out, it's one of those things that can keep you awake at night. So I think I'm going to throw out some examples and you can tell us if it's claimable or if it's not, with perhaps a simple explanation. Yeah. Okay. So are you ready? Right.
Yeah.
Can we claim for a Canva subscription?
If it is used for your business, then yes.
Yeah, okay. What if I'm designing a poster for Eden's 6th birthday party?
Well, if there's negligible private use, then I think you'd be fine. If you're using it 50-50, then I would probably just claim 50% of it.
Okay, right. So Canva subscriptions are good. How about when you are doing a craft fair and you are renting out a table space or the price of actually attending the fair?
Yes, absolutely. Fully claimable. Yeah.
All right. My laptop bag has just broke. Can I go and buy a new one and can I claim for it?
Yes.
Okay, great. I've had no sleep last night. I am desperate for a coffee. I'm taking myself to my local coffee shop and I'm getting myself a huge latte. And I'm sitting and I'm writing my podcast, which is work related, while I'm having it. Can I claim?
I'm afraid you can't claim for your daily coffee. There are rules where if you are working away from home, you are on a business trip, you've had to travel 20 miles and it's not feasible for you to come home for a coffee, then of course all of that is claimable. But if you just go down to your corner shop instead of doing it in your living room, then no. The other thing is that if you run an office or a workplace and you provide tea and coffee and stuff like that for your employees, that's absolutely fine.
Right.
Any kind of refreshments for them, but no, you can't claim for your lunch because you feel like not eating at home. Sorry.
You can't be bothered. Make some beans on toast. Okay, what about then if I've got a meeting with a client in Costa and I'm buying 2 drinks, one for me and one for them, can I claim for that?
It's all a bit of a grey area when it comes to entertaining, because actually you can claim entertaining for if you are entertaining your staff, but you can't claim for entertaining if you are entertaining customers and clients.
So I've got to stop having meetings then because it's costing me a bloody fortune. It's a bit like that. We made that choice to go for a coffee, basically.
Yeah, I don't really know what the reasoning is behind that.
I reckon you could probably say, well, you could just have a glass of water. Okay, one more. Say you're on social media a lot. Can you claim if you've had your hair and nails done for the occasion on camera?
Okay, so this is also a bit of a grey area. So because there's obviously more and more influencers now, what the rules for claiming are that they are wholly and exclusively for the purpose of your trade or profession. So if you need your hair done for a photo shoot, it's a one-off thing, yeah, that's fine. A regular haircut would not be allowed because it's got two purposes. It's not only for you to do your job, but it's also because it's your hair. Actors and especially people who are on the stage, all of their stage makeup can be put through. There was someone who moved from doing a radio show to a TV show, and it was deemed that her teeth needed sorting out if she was going to be on the telly. So that was all allowable, whereas, you know, normally you wouldn't think that cosmetic surgery would be okay. So it's a whole can of worms.
I like it when you said it's like it's got to be wholly and exclusively for the use of your business.
Yeah.
Try to think like that when you are
Yes.
what you can
If there's any duality of purpose is what they call it. So if there's any other reason why you might need to do that, then they're likely to say no.
Okay. So for a lot of people like me, work from home, I'm on the internet all day long and I need it to do my work. So what portion of my internet can I claim? Because
all of it.
All of it. Yeah.
Broadband is one of these things where you've either got it or you haven't. And if you didn't have it, you know, there's no way you could determine business use and personal use with that. So your broadband's fine to claim.
Yeah, so that's a really important one because, again, I know a lot of people worry about that because all these businesses now, it's all online, isn't it? We have online shops, we've got our social media. And what about personal phones, which, again, we're using for work purposes for promoting products and getting our stuff out there?
Yeah, well, phones is one of the ones that they want you to apportion. So just make a sensible guesstimate of whether you use it 50-50 or 80% business use.
Yeah, exactly. Mine is I hardly ring anybody.
Well, you don't nowadays, I don't think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all used for emails and WhatsApp with clients and stuff. So, yeah, 80%.
And you have to be connected all the time, don't you, really? You know, when I first started, I was thinking, no, I'm going to stick to 9 to 5 business hours, all of that stuff. Well, it's just not feasible, is it?
No
so
chance.
You do have to be connected all the time.
Yeah, definitely. And with the rising bills as well, what about working from home with gas and electric? Because, again, I don't have an office. A lot of people don't who are crafters or working from home. So how would that work?
So HMRC has a flat rate that you can claim. It's very generous at £6 a week.
Yeah.
But the other, there's a really complicated way you can do it of using square footage of the room that you use for business compared to the rest of your house. The easier way is work out how many rooms you've got in your house and how many of them you use for business and do a fraction of what your bills are.
Yes.
As long as you can show how you've calculated it, that's the best way to do. And it generally ends up more than £6 a week.
Oh God, that's nothing, is it? So I work in my office, but I sometimes do use the kitchen for packing orders and stuff. So would that count as 2 rooms? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you take that off the amount of rooms that you've got. So
yes.
Okay, so this is why I need an accountant, everybody, because we can't work this stuff out on our own. It's too difficult. Okay, I've asked my questions, but I want you to tell me now, what is the weirdest thing that someone has put through as a claim in your experience? If you've got any funny stories.
Okay, so it wasn't a client of mine. This is a case, well, there's a couple of cases. So one of the big things that people think they can claim for is clothing. So this is where it comes back to the wholly and exclusively thing, whether it's something you can use wholly for your business. So there was a barrister in a case, and she tried to claim for her suit and wig. And the phrase that HMRC used, it had a dual purpose because it provided warmth and decency.
Okay. Right.
So she could use the suit elsewhere. It wasn't exclusively for her to carry on her profession, because it also provided her personally with warmth and decency. So she wasn't allowed it.
Oh my gosh.
There was another case where there was a pole dancer. All of her beauty treatments and everything were all allowed because of the specific nature of her job, and or the special nature of their job is what the judge said. But also he ruled that her clothing was also allowable because it certainly did not provide warmth and decency. So he said there is no way she could have worn it anywhere other than doing her job, and therefore she was allowed it. But this is this is why our tax system's such a minefield, because sometimes it just does not make sense. Sometimes it really does, and then others you're like, why can't I do that?
I heard something once about this person. I don't know how true this was, but someone told me that he actually got away with claiming for a Class A drug to get him through his nights working. I don't know if he was a DJ or something. And he
Oh,
actually,
really?
yeah. And I was
I
like,
don't know that one. I'm going to have to research that one.
someone told me that years ago.
I just think people quite often will try for anything. And, it's how far you're willing to push it.
Yeah.
And how sensible it is, really. If there is duality of purpose, then HMRC are just not going to accept it.
Okay, tell me what it has been like for you starting this business from scratch, despite the fact you've got all this experience. Has it been scary?
Really scary. It's very, very scary, because it's putting yourself out there and trying to promote yourself is quite a difficult thing to do. And it's quite a scary thing to do. It's been scary is probably the only word for it.
It is. It's so hard, and I think that's one of the things. We're not used to selling ourselves, are we? Or
No.
Giving ourselves credit for what we're good at.
That's it.
It's really hard to put yourself out there and do that. And obviously, you know exactly what you're talking about.
This is the thing. I had a conversation with a client last week, and it's a confidence thing as well, because you've been cocooned in something that you can do it. You've done it for 20 odd years, and nothing's changed other than you're now going to do it for yourself rather than for somebody else. But having that, it's a different mindset. If somebody walked through the door of the office that I used to work at, I'm like, absolutely, bang straight on, let's do this, we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Whereas trying to put yourself out there and hope that people want to come and talk to you is a bit different. And it's having the confidence to do it, which comes from people around you, quite honestly. And this conversation I had with a client the other day, she's been in the same area of work for over 20 years, and she's decided to go in a different direction, and she's now unsure of her abilities. And it's like, no, you've done it. You've been successful at this for 20 years. There are so many qualities you can take from what you've been doing to transfer it into this new venture.
Yeah.
But it's can I really do that? And you just need people around you to say, yeah, you can.
You can. And like we were saying, you're 6 months in now, and this is the point, and this is what I was mentioning on my podcast that I've just recorded, that this is the point when it's make or break, and you think you either carry on and you have to push that bit harder through this barrier, because the 6 months mark is when you've done all the work, you've launched your business, all the excitement and the honeymoon period, if you like, has gone. You know, maybe got a few clients, you've served a few customers, maybe you've sold a few things, but at this point you're like, I'm out of options now, I don't know who else to promote to. And then you start thinking, oh God, is this the right thing? But actually now is the point you've got to work even harder. As much as you want to take the foot off the gas and rest, you can't. You've got to break through that barrier, because once you do it, that's when it goes
just
up.
got to keep going.
Yes.
Like I say, your other option is to go and get a job, and then that's going to put you back so much. Yeah, you've just got to keep going, and trust in the process, basically.
Yeah, and believe in it. And okay, if you're 5 years down the line and nothing still happened, then something obviously not quite right. But you have to get to at least, I would say, 18 months to 2 years before you notice a massive difference. And it does start coming in after 6 months, it does, but it takes time to build up. So this is the crucial point now. Don't give up. If you are at the month mark, or you just start, keep going, because that's the difference between people who fail and succeed.
Absolutely, yeah.
So what advice have you got for anyone who might just be starting out in their own business? Obviously, get an accountant.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I think it's not necessarily get an accountant, but at least get bookkeeping sorted from day one. Whether you do it yourself, or whether you employ someone to do it, or whether you engage someone like an accountant or a bookkeeper. Because if that's then taken care of, you can concentrate on what you want to do. Know your worth. Know your target audience. A lot of people will try and get something for nothing. And there's certainly things where that is going to help promote you. I read somewhere that there was something for, was it bomb disposal or something electrical? and the invoice said, cutting the correct wire, £1. The knowledge to know which wire to cut, £999.
Oh my
And
God.
that's it. You need to know your value in what it is that you're selling, whether it's you that's selling a service or whether you're selling the products that you've made, and get yourself out there.
I love that analogy with the wire, because you're right. That's
Yeah.
exactly what you're paying for. Somebody's knowledge and someone's experience, not the actual act of doing it. It's what you're paying for is what's behind the
Yeah.
scenes.
And this is it. There's lots of functions out there for somebody to do their own self-assessment return. The wording on it isn't always very clear.
No.
So I sometimes get asked, can you just check through my return for me? And it's like, well, yeah, I can do. And so I'll go through and explain it all to people. And then they're like, right, okay, then I'll just press the button. But they needed that support in order to do that. So it's recognising that, yes, you can do it yourself, but if you do, are you going to get it right? Because if you're not going to get it right, it's not worth in the future when something happens and you have to try and go back and correct it all.
Absolutely. I mean, I've done mine for the past 2-3 years, but you are now my new accountant. I'm so excited about, because it's something I can pass off, because
Yeah.
I hate doing it. But you know, like we were saying as well, you can pay installments as well, can't you? Or you can put money away. So what I do now, and I think it's a really good idea for people, my business bank account is through Metal, which is the online one. And every time any income comes into that, I set up like a transfer rule, which takes 20% of that and puts it into a tax pot. So I don't even see that 20%.
Yeah.
Now, I never used to do that. So I would always be panicking at the end of the tax year when I have to pay my bill. But now I can see the tax pot building up, and as annoying as it is, because I just want to go on holiday with that money, I just think it's there. So I think that's a really good idea, isn't it?
It is. And this then comes back to your bookkeeping, because if you've got something that's telling you how much profit that you're making, you can see whether you've completely over-egged that tax pot or not, whether you can take a little bit back out of it or not, or whether actually you need to top it up because you've under-egged it. It's one of those where if you don't know what position you're at, when it comes around to tax return time, and especially if you leave it right until the last minute, you've then got to find your tax bill. And that's just after Christmas. It's not great.
I think that knowing that things like this can be done by just being a bit wiser with your money, saving, putting away, even to pay your bill, I can put 30 quid a month away or whatever, and it's there ready.
Absolutely.
That's how you've got to think, really, isn't it? My mum was always really good with saving, and she used to have little wage packets used to buy from the post office. You'd have loads of different brown wage packets, and it'd be like holidays, it will be car money, it will be.
I wish I was that organised. I'm
Me
not.
I don't have enough money to be that organised. I used to, when I was like in my 20s, I seemed to be have a lot more money. Anyway, but I used to be able to have these little pots as well, but not anymore. It's kind of like whatever I've got is surviving on. And I think a lot of people are in the same boat, aren't they?
Yeah, at the moment. And there's a lot of uncertainty about with things at the moment. So it's understandable that it's even more scary at the moment than usual.
So if anybody who wants to work with you, wants you to be their accountant, how do they get in touch with you? What's the best way?
You can find me on Facebook, Boucher's Accountants Limited. I've got a website that you can contact me through, which is just www.bouchers-accountants.co.uk, or you can email me, which is alison@bouchers-accountants.co.uk.
Brilliant. I'll put all that information in the description of this episode. So if anybody does want to drop Alison a message, if you just go on the show description, you'll see some links there, which will take you to Alison's website. Highly recommend it. And again, what's different about you is you're so friendly, you're so approachable. People could literally send you a WhatsApp if they're stuck. It's all that support in between, isn't it?
Absolutely. There's because you don't think of all your questions at one point in the year, and you don't think of all your questions at the point where your accounts are being done or your tax returns being done. It's those points during the year when you think, oh, I could do with a new car. Am I allowed to buy this? Or, I need a new phone, or I'm thinking of doing this advertising, would it be worth it? Or there's loads of questions the right way through. I'm thinking I need a new pair of hands. Can I afford to employ somebody? A lot of people employ far too soon because they're feeling overwhelmed. And sometimes they'll take on a full-time member and you say, well, actually, do you need someone full-time? But it's those discussions. And this is what I said before, you don't have to do it all on your own. And that's a service that is just inherent in what I do. If you have a question, pick the phone up. It's hopefully not scary.
You're a woman doing this, and I feel like you're really good for other women business owners as well, because you get it and you understand.
Yeah.
And I think I've always had female accountants actually, but I'm so glad that I've got you now, because you're going to be the best of them all.
Absolutely.
We get to meet in the coffee shop once in a while.
Absolutely.
I'm not claim for it,
Yeah. I'll double check that.
because I want another coffee with you soon. Oh, thanks so
Cake this time.
Yeah, and cake, definitely. But thanks so much for coming on. I've really enjoyed our chat. Hopefully, we've made money less scary,
Hopefully.
interesting.
Yes.
Funny. And yes, if you do need an accountant or you've got any questions whatsoever, email Alison, because she's absolutely brilliant. And look out in the show notes for how to get in touch with her.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome, and I hope you've enjoyed it too.
I have. Thank you.
All right, we'll catch up soon.
We'll
Bye.
see you soon.
And that's it for today's episode. A big thank you to Alison for joining me and proving that accountants can actually be fun to talk to. If you'd like to connect with her, get her advice, or maybe even work with her, you will find all of her links waiting in the show notes. So definitely go and take a look. And if today's chat has got you thinking about your own business journey, don't forget that's exactly what Her Handmade Hustle is here for, to give you the confidence, the tools, and the encouragement to grow a business that you love. Through this podcast, my community, and the resources that I share, you don't have to figure it all out on your own. Just don't ask me anything to do with your finances. If you enjoy this episode, please do follow me on Substack, leave a quick review, or share it with somebody who's forever panicking about tax as well. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.